All right, we're back here for the JConcepts vlog here in the JConcepts garage. It's been a couple weeks. We touched on some, last episode we touched on some things, some past race events. We've had JR Mitch on, we have Fred Reap on. We've talked about different events and different products. Today we want to talk a little bit about probably the biggest event that we've had so far this year, success-wise for JConcepts. That's the Roar Off-Road Nationals. That was out in Hutto, Texas. Several weeks back, and a great event for us. Obviously we have a replica Spencer Rivkin car here in the garage here with us, but we had between Ryan Mayfield and Spencer Rivkin, they were extremely dominant at that race. What we had was Ryan TQ'd 7 out of the 8 rounds of qualifying with the JConcepts TLR equipped vehicles, and then in the main events he led the truggy race start to finish, and he won that 45-minute main. And then in the buggy race, since he was the top qualifier, he didn't have to race in the semifinal. So he was able to sit out the semifinals and take his pole position for the main, which he did in the 60-minute main. Had a couple problems driving-wise for Ryan there at the beginning. I think he just wasn't quite in his rhythm, made a few mistakes over a triple jump coming on the front straightaway. And Spencer Rivkin kind of got away from him really early in the race, and I'd say Spencer, led almost that whole race. It was a 60-minute main event. Spencer just came off a great run in the semifinal, and he really put it on him there in the 60-minute main. Once Ryan did find his rhythm, he did make up a ton of time on the field, and what I remember is him having really tight battles with Cavallari and Tessman, and I think even Ryan Lutz was in there for a bit. So after Ryan made his couple mistakes at the beginning, he dropped to about 4th or 5th, but he really kind of charged back in 2nd or 3rd. Then he had a flame out in the pits that they really got it going really quick for him, and so it dropped him back again, and he had to make up a lot of time. So wasn't really the best main event for Ryan in terms of just having a complete error-free and issue-free run. He ended up with a flame out once in the pits, and then I'd say he probably crashed 4 or 5 times on the track on his own, and that probably set him back 20 plus seconds, which in a main event in a nationals, it's gonna be tough to get away with that. But anyway, he made a race of it. He caught up to Spencer there in the end. Spencer had an unfortunate incident with about a lap or 2 to go that his car was flipped over. Took the turn marshal a bit to get to it, and I think he was getting a little bit nervous, but the car didn't flame out. It didn't do anything. The car was upside down for quite a bit there. Turn marshal got it. He didn't really panic because Ryan at that point had pulled right up on the back of Spencer, and it was a really close race at the end. The really amazing part of the finish was when they came across the line, Spencer made the final lap, and as he made the final lap, his car came over the jump and he flipped over on the front jump section, and Ryan actually didn't make the last lap. So Ryan was done at the line. Spencer had made the last lap, and actually Spencer didn't complete his final lap. So it was really kind of a difficult thing for him, for Mayfield, because had he made that last lap, which came down to 7/10 of a second, he may have overtaken Spencer on that last lap, because Spencer obviously didn't finish. So it came down to that close, literally 7/10 of a second between the two guys at the finish after 60 minutes. So really hats off to Spencer on a great race with the RC8 B3. Of course, the JConcepts Detox tires was working really well for us there in Hutto at Thornhill, and then Mayfield taking the second position. So we're really happy with that kind of 1-2 finish. Of course, we produced a special body for Spencer to win that race, which was the Strike 2 body, we're calling it, where we went over kind of some performance advantages of the Strike 2 and what we did with the body. And then of course, going back to truggy, Ryan won that class with our Reflex truggy tires, and we made him a special body for that race, which is the finisher for the 4.0 truggy. and we kind of went over all that stuff while we were there, and it really worked out really well for us because we put in some work and effort back at the shop. Paul Wynn and all the guys were really active, making sure that we really put together a nice package for that race, and our tires worked extremely well there at Thornhill. The guys were really amped about running the hybrid rear wing on the buggy and the truggy, so great package win for us at the Roar Nationals. It's the first time we've ever swept both classes, so one of our probably top accomplishments so far in the racing scene. A couple other shout outs to guys doing well. JR Mitch, who rode with John Pine over to the event. JR finished 12th in buggy. He bumped up from the semifinal. Cole Ogden finished 8th in the buggy main. In truggy, he was going to bump up from the B, but his truck got disqualified for being underweight. Stephen Hartson ran a good race for JConcepts and Associated and made the truggy main, and also Alex K, the Northeast champ, was able to come in and make the truggy main. And Alex got faster as the weekend went on, and was really kind of unfortunate he didn't make the buggy main. He had some issues in the pits that he wasn't able to overcome. So a lot of great results for us at the Roar Nationals. We're kind of looking towards now the big race-wise national scene. We got the e-buggy nationals coming up, which we call it the e-buggy nationals, but it's really e-buggy, e-truggy, and short course four-wheel drive. So you're going to see all the same guys in Indiana there. I believe it's called State Line Raceway. They're all going to be battling it out once again, but this time in electric 8 scale. So really looking forward to seeing how that kind of ends up. We had a couple events in between there. We had the AMS, which again, JR Mitch and John Pyatt went up to Alabama represent. We had many drivers up there. Joe Bornhorst, the Techno driver, ended up winning Pro Buggy and Pro E-Buggy. Ryan Lutz won Truggy, but it was a big battle. I know there was also, the weekend took place on Ryan Cavallari's wedding, so there's several drivers not able to attend just because of the wedding, such as Spencer Rivkin, Ryan Mayfield, obviously Ryan Cavallari. A lot of these drivers were at Ryan Cavallari's wedding, but make no excuses. Joe ran great races, so did Ryan Lutz. They were the guys to beat there at AMS this year. One of the interesting things about the buggy main is a lot of leaders in that race. Dakota Fenn was there, he was leading that race, and also Cole Ogden was running really well for Mugen and JConcepts. He took the lead, immediately had a problem, and then Joe Bornhorst took over the lead. So lots of action there in the Pro Buggy main. I know our guy JR Mitch, who was helping support the team, and he was there racing as well. He ended up getting a 3rd place in Pro Buggy. He was real happy with the accomplishment. John Pyatt and Damon Borkowitz were his pit guys, so they had a good battle down there in the pits. A couple things we wanted to talk about is we've been getting a lot of good feedback at a lot of miscellaneous carpet races and carpet tracks. We got the new JConcepts carpet tires out there. Of course, we got them featured on one of our cars here in the garage, but 702 Raceway, we got Tilted RC Raceway. It's a backyard track. We got some great reports coming back from that track. We got Tanner Day up in the Northwest doing work with Thomas Tran. We got some guys reporting back from RC Madness, and we have a lot of people sending messages, sending different feedback in terms of our carpet tires, and everyone's been really pleased with the pin downs in the rear, swaggers in the front, so we've been really happy with that. We're going to keep working on it. So a little bit of feedback there. One tip, guys who keep asking about this, is the tires themselves actually have a surface feature, which the carcass itself has a roughed area that's a wide bead on one end and it's a narrow bead on the other. What this is it's an indication of the direction, which direction the pins are angled. Well, the reason we did this is so that, because they are directional, that you would know that you would have them on the correct side. What we've been telling everybody that's been working well for us is using the wide textured surface to the outside of the tires. Now what this is it's a certain angle that the pins are set at, left to right. So at the end of the day, once you run these tires and they're broken in, you can run them in either direction. But what's been popular for us and working well is starting with the wider textured strip on the outside on both, which angles the pins a certain direction on both sides, and that's what keeps the car symmetric. So if you have any questions about that, good starting point is running the wide strip on the outside of both. The front is the same no matter what. Just make sure that you're using a narrow style slim front wheel, because that's what these tires are made for. And I think you'll have a lot of success. No, we got no inserts in these. The tires don't come with inserts in the front, and they work well. In the back, we've been using open cell insert that's included. There's been some guys out there trying our Dirt Tech inserts, and they've been having a lot of success with them. So it depends on the track, how much stability you need in the sweepers, high-speed sections, whether you want to kind of increase the stiffness of your rear insert. So that's one of our big questions, was how to mount those tires. I had another question. A guy was asking when we're going to have some 2.2 slick tires, and because right now we got the 2.4s, and it is in the works. It's something that we'll probably see later in the year, but right now we're working on our treads, our carpet tires, and our treaded dirt web style clay indoor tires. So you'll see us working on those as we move into the Nationals for 10 scale in August. You'll see us tinkering there, working on some new things, and then later in the year we'll work on our 2.2 slicks. So just kind of recap, talked about the Roar Nationals, AMS. We talked about the success of the carpet tires. We talked about some directional aspects of the tires, how to mount them. One thing we wanted to point out was the 2.2 slicks. We are working on them later in the year. And then two other events I wanted to touch on was the 1/5 scale Worlds, which Matt Olson and Neil Pesta was out there racing and doing a great job for us. And Matt Olson actually was able to win the truck class, and Neil won the buggy class. So that was one of a Reflex 1/5 scale tire. Great performance out of the 1/5 scale Worlds. We got Reno Savoia turning in great results all over France for us. Round 4 of the French Nats happened right after the Roar Nationals. He's able to TQ and win out there. So just kind of everywhere with our results right now, between 5th scale, 10th scale, 8th scale. We can see here we got some monster trucks, and we're a little bit everywhere right now. And but kind of the common ground is we're trying to get the results to kind of speak for themselves. One thing we wanted to mention about the top25rc.com is after the Roar Nationals, Ryan Mayfield moved into the top position as the #1 ranked 1/8 scale driver in the world. So Ty Tessman's been sitting up top for about 2 years now, and Ryan Mayfield has achieved enough results at this point now where he's actually moved percentage points ahead of Ty Tessman for the #1 ranked driver in the world. So it's an exciting thing to follow. These guys are doing battle, almost every week, definitely once a month, and it's definitely when you get a result like that catapults you into the lead on a point system that's been working its way up in the popularity. It's definitely worth noting. So congrats to Ryan moving up. Obviously he's got to defend that #1 ranking. We got a bunch of races coming up, including the Worlds in October. So I think that's where you'll see things really get interesting. But anyway, thanks for joining us here. Another episode of the vlog right here in the JConcepts garage. Of course, if you got any questions, send something to us. We'll try to touch on it whenever we can. And thanks for joining us here with JConcepts.